With all my senses seemingly captured by Adam, it's a few moments before I realize there is more noise from the living room. My gaze slides from Adam to Nate, who's standing behind him. Nate's steps speed toward the living room as Farah yells, "What the hell?" Adam swings around before jogging forwards a couple of steps to catch up with Nate. I instantly make to follow. There's a light clicking sound from the other room before a loud pop follows. Then come the yells. "It's DMB!" Farah shouts. "What?" Adam calls, making it to the doorway. "That's impossible. It's illegal outside of the agency." Nate stumbles to a stop beside Adam, recoiling a little. His reaction makes me hurry to join them. "And thralls, in the daytime," comes Farah's call again. "That's impossible too, right?" "Let's focus on what's happening, not on what is supposed to be impossible." My mother's voice rings out, commanding from the other room. "Cover your mouths. Try not to let it enter your system." I run up beside them. My expression matches Nate's as I draw to a stop and stare over the scene, my eyes wide and mouth agape. My living room is smothered in blood-red smoke. It seems to gleam and glitter in the dull light. Unlike any smoke I've ever seen, it creeps from the living room and begins to spill into the bedroom. I watch as both Nate and Adam tense away from it, fear making them stiffen. "What is it?" I call over the sounds of scuffling in the living room. "Celeste, where are you?" Rebecca shouts from the thick, shimmering plume. Her slim hand emerges from the cloud, and Nate instantly reaches out. He yanks her forward and into the clearer air of my bedroom, a hand resting on her back to keep her steady. "What about the others?" Adam asks, voice stern but expression full of worry. "The DMB got them, but they're alive." She spares me only a glance before staring between Adam and Nate, her elegant features stiff and hard. "I will hold the thralls back and try to help the others. You have to get my daughter out of here." A loud thump sounds from the fog, followed by a groan. We all take a wide step back as the smoke crawls through the doorway. I whip my head around to face her. "I'm not leaving the team, don't be ridiculous." She smiles, but it fades as quickly as it came. "I'm going to help them." She places a hand on mine. "But I won't risk Murphy hurting you." My eyes remain on hers, the deep brown of them suddenly warm but pleading. "No, I'm staying. They'd stay for me." "You don't have to stay for us. I'm staying," Adam states. "I'll be there with her." "What?" That doesn't ease my tension. "Adam," Nate begins. Adam holds up a hand to cut him off. "Take Celeste and go." His gaze shifts to land on me, and I shiver beneath it. "All right." Nate nods. "Then be careful, both of you." The next thing I know, Nate's hand shifts from my mother to me. "We have to get you out of here. Come on." I jerk away. "No, I'm staying." "Keep her safe," my mother calls, offering me a final smile. And then she and Adam both disappear back into the cloud. "I'm sorry, Detective," Nate mutters, gently tugging me towards the window and the fire escape beyond. I follow reluctantly, knowing I couldn't get past him even if I tried. We head down the ladder, my fingers unsteady on the rungs. My head is filled with thoughts of what is happening back at the apartment. In the parking lot. Rain lashes against us, heavy droplets stinging against my skin with its chill and force, but I follow Nate through the empty parking lot. Orange street lamps flicker to life in the day's gloom as we sprint past, seeming to frantically light our way. Trees lie on the far side through the distorted gray haze like ghosts in a fog. I drag Nate to a stop. "What the hell was all of that? What is DMB? Why are there thralls? I thought they could only be around at night." "It's okay, Detective." Nate moves back towards me, his voice soothing and calm. "I can't explain how the thralls are here." His hands hang heavily at his sides, a strange tiredness seeming to seep into his voice suddenly. DMB is a poison. Its full name is Dead Man's Blood. My back snaps taut. Poison? It only really affects supernaturals, vampires particularly. It can make us very weak and vulnerable. He purses his lips in confused thought. Murphy shouldn't have had access to it at all. Only the agency can use and get a hold of it. What? I shake my head, water flicking in all directions with the motion. Did the DMB get to you? He rolls his shoulders as though testing them for movement. I think so. And what happens to the others? My mind focuses on only one. To Adam. Nate's brow curves slightly before dropping. Your mother is skilled. Don't underestimate her. She'll keep them safe. But I have to get you out of here. Where's your car? Nate shouts, having to yell over the downpour hammering onto the slick ocean of concrete. I squint to see through the rain, bringing up a finger to point out the silver car sitting lonely beneath a lamp. Nate nods at me, and we speed off once again. We don't get far before a voice makes us stumble to a halt. You took your time. Murphy's voice echoes through the rain as though it dances off the droplets, reverberating through the damp with ease. The man steps out from around my car, wiggling the tie around his neck further up his off-white shirt, even though his whole gray suit is completely drenched. His black hair is slicked to his pale skin. But his eyes manage to pierce out through the gloom like sparks from a wire. I thought I'd try to make a good impression this time. He gestures to himself. You are rather special after all, Detective DeWolf. Nate shuffles a step in front of me, his towering height almost blocking my view completely. I think we're well past good impressions, don't you? I call back, shuffling a step forward. I'm stopped as Nate whips his head around to look at me with unease. Murphy's thin lips lift into a smile, but his focus doesn't move from me. Yes, I suppose we are. That is a shame. Nate and I both tense as a group of milky-eyed, swollen-limbed thralls sway out from behind my car. They flank Murphy, their groans vibrating through the air. It doesn't have to be this way, Nate calls. The agency is reasonable. Reasonable! Murphy sneers. Maybe to pets like you who are kept on a short leash. But how about for those of us who want to be who we are, without the agency putting stupid limits on our lives? He shakes his head. I don't think they'd like that so much. Nate sighs, the good intention slapped back in his face. Murphy's eyes sharpen. Kill the agent. Bring me the detective. The thralls lurch forward at his command, and my stomach drops. Even with his obvious hope of it not turning into a fight crushed, Nate doesn't hesitate as a thrall moves forward to attack. The thrall arches a leg up, aiming it at Nate's stomach, but Nate blocks the kick with his hands, catching the man's leg in an unyielding grasp. Nate slams his foot into the thrall's standing leg. There's a wince-inducing snap, and the thrall sinks to the ground in yells of agony. The other thralls lumber forward, and Nate moves to wade into the fray. Taking a step back, I survey the scene for a moment. Nate continues to defend himself with skill. The thralls batted away from him almost as soon as they approach. As they tumble back, they avoid coming beneath the lamplight. One almost stumbles to get away from it, raising their arm above their head to protect their eyes from the orange beam that beats down on them. Now I know what to do. Nate! I yell, catching the vampire's attention for a moment as he fends off another attack. He stares at me in obvious confusion. I gesture to his coat. I need your phone! The confusion steps up a notch, a frown lining his face. What? Why? Just give me your phone! Without hesitation, he kicks back a thrall and then digs into his jacket pocket. After finding it, he throws the phone at me with surprising speed. I catch it, the phone almost slipping out of my damp grasp. I clutch it tighter. Now all I have to do is check whether there's a damn camera function on it. For all their high-tech gear, it would be typical that the agency would leave out something so simple. I let out a sigh of relief to find the camera app on the screen. A few seconds of setup later, I look back towards Nate. Cover your eyes! Once again, he instantly moves at my words, leaping away with his back turned to the thralls. I chuck the phone forwards. A spray of bright flashes explodes between the thralls, the camera taking constant pictures in the gloom for a few seconds. It's enough to have the thralls moaning and stumbling away, hands clawing at their faces, eyes scalded by the brightness. A triumphant, relieved smile settles on my lips. Well done, Nate yells, a smile beaming on his face. But it's not long before they're advancing on Nate again, arms flailing wildly and blindly in the sheer hope of just hitting something. Minutes pass. Long minutes. What the thralls lack in combat skill, they make up for with brute force and stamina. Every time one goes down, they get right back up, even with broken limbs or blood pooling from their faces. Murphy is standing now, pacing around like a shark around prey, waiting for the best moment to strike. I can feel the focus from him. as sharp on me as the rain that belts down from the darkening sky. It's getting harder to breathe through the exhaustion. Each breath laces my lungs with cold, painful stinging. Nate is quickly slowing down too, defending us from the attacks with labored movements. We back up as far as possible from the thralls as they clamber back onto their feet for another relentless assault, hoping to catch our breath. Nate lets out a sharp breath, staring over the scene. This is going to be harder than I thought. The DMB, it's really starting to get to me. I turn to face him. His usually sparkling eyes are dull and his skin has gone pale. Are you going to be okay? He attempts a smile. I'll be fine. It just takes a while to work out of the system. And what about in the meantime? I'll give everything to keep you safe, he says, his words soft against the rain that batters against us. He raises a hand to place it on my cold cheek, the touch instantly warming me. I promise. The moment is shattered by heavy footsteps pounding forwards. A thrall looms towards us with the metal bumper of a car gripped in his hands. When he brings it down, Nate instantly leaps in front of me to take the blow. The metal slams into Nate's shoulders with a painful wallop, and he yells out in agony. All I can do is watch. It's all happening so fast my brain can barely keep up. Now on all fours, Nate glances up at me, his expression half drowned in the rain. Celeste, run. His words are cut off as Murphy yanks the makeshift weapon from the thrall's hands. He brings it crashing down on the back of Nate's head. Nate crumples onto the dark, rain-soaked concrete, unmoving. Well, that was lucky, Murphy says, staring down at Nate with a sneer. Human heads are a lot softer than a vampire's. You would have been rendered useless if that thrall had hit you. I always forget they're not so smart. I finally blink out of my shock. Strong hands grasp around me. Two thralls grip me around my shoulders and knees, lifting me from the ground. Let me go, I yell, struggling in the thrall's grasp. Their grip only tightens until it feels like it's crushing me. Ah! Stop making such a fuss, detective, Murphy chides. He lets the bloodied bumper fall from his grasp, the metal falling to the ground with a deep splash as it hits a puddle. Let's go. No, get off of me! I continue yelling, writhing in their grip. It does nothing, and eventually I snap my focus back to Nate. There's no movement, only a stream of red staining the water beneath his body. Nate! Back in the apartment. How did Murphy even keep control of them during the day? Morgan asks, puffing out a panted breath and falling back against the wall. She quickly shoves a cigarette between her lips. Adam stares down at the now unconscious thralls with a frown, their forms surrounded by broken furniture and shattered decor. It should be impossible. No one had ever managed to have enough power to control one thrall during the daylight hours, let alone a group. And Murphy isn't exactly a tier 10 supernatural. It just shouldn't be possible. We'll figure it out later, Rebecca says, her long, bright red hair in knotted lengths about her face. It was yanked out of its braid by a thrall. It's been a long while since she's had to be physically involved, but Adam isn't surprised to see she held her own with barely a scratch on her, something which can't be said about the rest of the team. The DMB continues to sting in Adam's veins, but he refuses to let it show. Instead, he keeps his teeth gritted and leans heavily on a nearby side table to support his heavy limbs. Thankfully, the plume of red cloud has mostly been drawn out of the windows Rebecca flung open at the beginning of the fight. The team aren't as badly off as they could be. You think they made it? Farah asks, voicing the thought they are all sharing about the detective and Nate. Adam's frown only deepens. We should assume they did. The front door suddenly creaks open, the team flashing round with arms raised in preparation. Adam's eyes go wide at the figure half stumbling through the door, drenched and groaning. Nate! Adam instantly marches closer to help Nate into the room. Nate manages a weak smile as they shuffle further inside. What happened? Morgan asks. Blood stains Nate's skin down the back of his neck, dribbling into his jacket where the rain has soaked him. Adam steps even closer, concern making him reach out. Are you all right? Nate waves away Adam's worry. I'm fine. I'm healing. You're lucky you're stronger than most vampires, Morgan says. or you wouldn't be healing at all with all that DMB in your system, as well as a wound. Rebecca suddenly strides forward. Where's Celeste? Nate looks at her, silent for a long moment. I'm sorry, Rebecca. I'm so sorry. He swallows hard before managing to speak again. Murphy took her. Adam's chest constricts so tightly at the news he actually sways on the spot. Rebecca stares blankly at Nate, eyes reddening, before she stumbles back a step. She ends up sitting heavily in a chair behind her. Adam's mind spins. The idea of the detective being taken. He shakes his head, but it doesn't rid the knot that clamps in his stomach. Instead, he focuses on Agent DeWolf, her shoulders hunched and breath shuddered. Adam realizes he's never seen her look so fragile. I need to call the agency, Rebecca says, stumbling to stand and swiping a palm across her cheek to catch a stray tear. Excuse me. She then strides from the room, yanking her phone from her trouser pocket. Silence captures the room, the quiet punctuating the emptiness of having the detective gone. The team is surrounded by her things, the whole room just a cage of accusation of their failing. Of course, they've failed missions before, if rarely, but this time it's different. They can all feel it. Adam feels it acutely. It's because of the detective and her ability to worm her way into their lives without the team even realizing. And, Adam refuses to admit, into his life more than he would like. A lot more. And now her absence is like having one of the team torn from their side. The emotion that cuts through Adam at this realization makes his frown deepen. Nate places a hand on the back of a chair and hunches forward, letting out a low breath and catching Adam's attention. Rain drips from his wet hair and over his face, and Adam pretends not to notice the shine of tears in his friend's eyes. What have I done, Adam? Nate whispers. You haven't done anything. This isn't your fault. But she's gone, and Adam... Nate glances to Adam, a pained, sad frown on his brow. That matters to me. So much. Adam's shoulders knot together at Nate's admission, not only because he doesn't want to hear his friend so torn, but because it's exactly how Adam feels too. And for them both to feel that way. Adam purses his lips to rid himself of the thought quickly, biting down on the remaining anxiety which wants to claw at him. He straightens himself, mask firmly back in place. We'll get her back. We have to. I know. Adam frowns and glances away, the detective once more drowning out all rational thought.